Hey folks, welcome back. So here in the background you can see my latest or recent grid patch. It's kind of an ambient tune with some drums in it, and all of these drums here are very simply synthesized with some very simple tricks. So of course that's not a real track or something that you maybe want to call a complete production. It's just fun to me to create these kind of grid patches here and share it with you or with the community. So the question from some of my patrons was, how would I do it, or how would I push this into a full track? So how would I process it, right? And of course, this kind of question hints at the possibility of kind of get these sounds out of the grid, because at the moment here it's just one grid. It's one channel or one instrument track. There's one instrument on it, and it's playing here basically pads and arps and rimshot hi-hats, FX and kick sounds and so on. And when you want to create some kind of track, of course you need everything on a separate track, right? So the first thing you can do, and sometimes this works pretty neatly because it's, you know, here we have lots of different instruments, but sometimes you have just a pad sound and maybe an arp on top or something like this. And what you can do is you can just select certain parts here. It's also very separate here in this kind of grid. So you just select these parts and say, oh, just disable this, right? And then you have only, let's say if I do this here. So now you have only the pads or the drone sound in the background. Maybe there's an arp here playing at some point. You can also disable this. Actually, it only works when you use this here in the sidebar. If you go here for right click, it only enables what it's beneath the mouse cursor for some reason. So now we have only the pads or the drone sound playing, and then you can go here into the arranger and you just select the part that you want to bounce. I don't know how long is this here actually. When I go here, it's let's hit stop. So this is 61, 2 minutes. This is 1 minute, right? So you can say, let's do it a bit longer. This is here 8 minutes. I don't know how long an ambient track should be. Maybe 8 minutes is enough. So just right click here and say bounce, post fader, no dither, maybe 32 bits if you want to. And then you can just bounce here the pad sounds or the drone sounds. So this is one way of doing that, right? And it takes a bit of time here, so maybe just cancel this. So this is one way of doing it, but when you have a lot of instruments, that's maybe not the way to do it. Can I actually enable everything? Yeah, I can. So another way is, of course, try and get the sounds out of the grid in kind of a dynamic way. And there is no separate audio out in the grid. There are some, there's a MIDI or note out that you can use to get some note informations out of the grid, something like this here, right? But there's no audio out. So we have one audio out here, but that's just one single stereo output, and you can't change here on the inspector for, you know, have certain multiple channels or something like this, or what's the name, multi-track output for VSDs is also something that's not possible here. Oh, there's also clipping on here. So what we can do is we can do, of course, the DC offset trick. So what we do is, instead of going out with an audio signal, we go out with audio rate modulation, and we modulate a device outside of the grid. So here in the postfx chain, we can just delete all the postfx, and we use a DC offset device here. It looks like this. And we can modulate this DC offset device from within the grid window. So let's say we want to get here the pad sounds out. Let me see. It's basically this output here. So we just delete this here. or we can keep it and just delete the connection. And we use a modulator out. So this one, right? So instead of going out here with the audio output, we go out with modulations, and then we modulate here the DC offset. The problem with this is that this is only one modulation, or it's actually a stereo modulation, but here this one can only give you a monophonic output. So it gives you, for the left and the right channel, the same modulation. So what you have to do is you have to group this together into, let's say, left, and this into right. So we have to modulate here to the left and to right. And to do this here in the grid, we have to use a stereo split. I know the setup is not straightforward, but so we have here now a left output, and we have also a right output. We can also name this here. So this is left and this is right. And then all we have to do is to modulate here this with the left and this with the right. Let's actually modulate this here with the right amount. So this is 1. This is not 1, so now it's 1. Okay, left, right, instead of just one audio output. So that's the idea. So let's give this a try here. It's a bit quiet because we had in the beginning, we had here a lot of post FX on there, like a clipper and a limiter. So here we need more volume. So we can do this maybe with an amplifier. I think we also have to put this here to the right side and this to the left. Yeah, this makes sense. Right? So instead of not hearing anything because we disconnected here the audio output, now we can hear this over this DC offset. So this is now here the drone. And we can just leave it at as this here, and we can group this together and do another one here, DC offset. And we also group this together into left and right. So this one probably is the baseline or something like this, or maybe you go for the arp here. Arp. Where is it? Let me see. So it's this output here. Here's the blend. So we blend basically the dry and the wet signal together. And then we go here into the music mix. It's the upper one. And here there's a modulation on an LFO, and this is basically an arrangement LFO. So it's very slow. You can see it's using 32 bars. So it's slowly over 32 bars. It blends in and out. So you don't hear the arpeggiator all the time or the sequence all the time. So let's go out here with the same idea. Let's use a split. And use modulator right and left. We can also name this. It's a bit of setup, but it's at least it's possible, right? There's always a way in Bitwig to make something possible. That's why I like it. Okay, let's check here on the inspector. 1. This is also 1, right? So now we have the arp here. We also need to amplify this, I guess. The arp is not playing because that's too loud. Maybe put this here outside. We have more like an idea. pad. This is here the drone. That's not the pad, it's the ARP. No, other way around. This is the ARP. Okay. So what's this here? Ah, we connect this here to the spectrum analyzer. Okay. So now we have the pad, the drone. We can mute this here and also sum it together. So I could do this already in my patch if I want to, but most of the times I'm too lazy for this. But you can get all these sounds out here if you want. Split. So this is here the baseline. Let me see where this is. Oh yeah, it's going in here. So it's this output. Modulator out. Right, left. DC offset. Left. Right. I think I also forgot to pen this. 1. So left goes to, or right goes to right. Left goes to left. Here also left, left. Done. And now we have the baseline here. And it's maybe also a bit too quiet. There's also here a nice sidechain already integrated. That's coming from the kick drum. Kick drum is here. It's basically here the envelope modulator output going straight to the volume knob on the bass. Okay, so this is the bass here. Yeah, and then you do this basically for all the things in the grid. And then you can, maybe I should do it here, just so you can see how it works. Oh, the bass line is actually way too deep and way too loud. Also, the benefit of this is, of course, that you can put here some VSTs on these tracks, which is not possible inside of the grid, of course. So this is the bass line. Maybe we do a combined for the drums. Let's disconnect this here. Is there modulation here already? No, okay. Okay, let's do a DC offset again. Group it together. This is left. This is right. And right, this goes to the right side, this goes to the left side. Okay, let's use the drum mix here. This is the output. Actually, I can put this here at the top. So let's modulate this by 1. Then disconnect this here. So now you can mute all these tracks. Let's call it drums. It actually has some kind of volume? No. Let's use the amplifier. So we can use here the ARP and we can say I want to put a supermassive on that. And maybe a delay. And something to control the volume a bit better. So we have the drums here. Maybe I put a VST on that, just so you can see it. Oh, there's the bass line in the drum mix. Okay. Doesn't make sense. Maybe a clipper on that. Of course, it's probably better to layer this with some samples instead of using here these very simple drum synthesizers. Maybe you can also use the FX here in a separate layer. Just for this example here, it's enough. So now we can create audio tracks and just import these sounds here. Maybe put the mix down so you can't hear the sum. But now we can just go here to the first track, chains FX layer, right? And you have all these things here as separate things. So drums post, for instance. So we have drums here. So here we get the bass. Oh, that's actually my microphone. Here we get the bass. FX, bassline post, audio track. So here we get the arp post and the pads. Drone post. Nice. So now we have nothing on all of these channels, or on the first channel here on the output. It's more or less muted. And then we separate these into multiple tracks here. And then you can say, I want to bounce all of this here. Post fader. Maybe in place. And it's bouncing all the audio down into audio files. And then you can try and make what everyone really likes to do, and it's creating an arrangement that's longer than 8 bars. And it's probably not possible just with the sounds from the grid here. You probably want to add some sequences on top. Maybe you want to play something on the keyboard on top. Add some additional layers, FX sounds, fade ins, fade outs, risers, whatever, right? Just to make it interesting. Also, the drums are very basic. Like I explained, it's just very simple synthesis inside of the grid. It's just fun to me to make these, but it's not like state of the art, probably. So here you get something to work with or to start off, and have at least something materialized as some clips inside of the arranger. You can see you don't need to actually record it, you can just bounce it. It just works. There's the drone here going in and out. So now disable all of this, and you can just play it. Right, you can disable this. It's just audio files. So yeah, it just works. So this is my idea, or this is how I do it sometimes when I get the itch of making one of my grid patches into a full track. And yeah, you, just like I said, you need to layer it with something else. It's not just you can bounce it out and then you have a full track. It's not that easy. You need to arrange it a bit. Maybe you want the bass sound not from the beginning, right? You want to fade in the arp here at a certain point. You want to fade in the drone here. Something like this. Maybe you want the outro here, something like this. Drums maybe from the beginning here. You want to have some effects on the drums, or maybe in high pass. Then you go into the full drums. Then maybe you have some percussions on top. So stuff like this. That's how I would approach it. It's just a rough draft, and yeah, it's a nice starting point, I would say. So this is how I would do it, just to give you an idea here with the DC offset out. It's actually a question I get a lot, and I explained this a few years ago when the grid came out, but it's still, you know, not a straightforward solution, and not everyone knows how it works. So yeah, get the audio signal, split it up into left and right channels, go to modulation out, use the modulation and modulate here and DC offset for the left and the right channel, and then you get different audio outs. And yeah, maybe there's a limitation, or maybe oversampling here with the DC offset, and it's maybe not top quality, but I can't hear any difference. And you know, for ambient and all the other things, there is worse quality in other VST plugins, and also people like to have it, you know, put it on tape and re-record it from tape, and they have a lot of kind of vintage flair to it. So why not using a DC offset? I don't see a reason why not using it. So yeah, give this a try, and that's my explanation for that. 22 minutes, already too long. It's probably a lot of rambling in this video. I don't care. Let me know what you think if you actually do this, and maybe let me know if you actually use my grid patches I publish on my other music channel. If you use that for your tracks, I have no idea. Sometimes I just use my own grid patches for a backdrop, right? So instead of this here with drums and bass, I maybe use, I don't know, something like this here, fireflies, for instance. It's just pads. Right? Why not use this as a drone sound or backdrop of a song? Just make it a bit quieter in the background, and then play something on top, and you have a very dense atmosphere. That's how I do it sometimes. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.